All right, so we're back again this week, back from the Christmas break to do our next draft. Tate was our got to pick our topic this week, and so we're going to go with the top NFL players of all time, in our opinion. Since NFL playoffs start this week, kind of makes sense to go that route. So my team, of course, is not in it, but Brett, your team's looking good. Green Bay got the number one seat, so
We'll see what happens.
see what happens there. Unfortunately, the rest of our teams all were terrible this year. So we're all of us are picking in the top 5, 10 in the.
I don't have a team.
Yeah, yours are just players. Yeah.
I mean, I know you all were expecting the Lions to go, but we let you down this year. But see how it goes next year.
Maybe next year.
The Chargers, man. Tate, I'm a huge fan of the Chargers. Of course, you are as well. Much bigger fan than I am, but I always feel like they're always on the cusp of just having such a good year. And Herbert looked good, but
they're always right there, and they always have so much talent on the offensive side and defensive side, and can never put it together. Whether it's coaching, whether it's just dumb plays at the end of games, they can't overcome that hurdle. But
they need to get LaDainian Tomlinson the ball more.
Do what?
They just need to get LaDainian Tomlinson the ball more.
If they would give him 20+ carries a game, they would win. I mean, Sean Merriman sacking the quarterback,
That's the problem. Why Anthony Lynn's not there anymore.
they could just go back to Ron Leaf. I'll tell you.
Ryan Leaf. Yep. But no, Herbert looks good. Rookie of the year. I'm excited about him, but we'll see how that pans out.
I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one between him and I can't even think of his name. Vikings receiver.
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
I think Herbert's got it in the bag.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think Herbert kind of tapered off a little bit there towards the last 3 or 4 games or something like that. And I think Justin Jefferson was more consistent, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. So new year, 2021 here. 2020 is behind us. So we'll see who can win the drafts going into this year. Our guest this week is Brett. Thanks for joining us, Brett.
No, thanks for having me.
His hoodie on, so he's ready to roll. We are going to be drafting one quarterback, and these are all-time players in their prime. One quarterback, 2 receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end, and then 1 flex. So we just finished our fantasy football league. None of us won, of the 5 of us, so didn't repeat. Only Tate made it to no. Yeah, Tate was the only one who made the playoffs out of the 5 of us here. So
didn't last long.
Yeah. Did not. So we're gonna draft that way. We just randomized the order. Somehow I got the first pick. Usually goes to Hunter, but he didn't get it this week. So Hunter is second though. Tate third, Brett fourth, Ricky at the 5th pick. So normal snake draft rules apply. So we'll go that route. So I got the first pick here, and I've got to go with, I think the best player. I mean, why not go the best player available at the best position? You gotta have your quarterback, and there's a lot of really good quarterbacks here. I mean, I'm not gonna name the names because I'm sure they're gonna get picked later, but I gotta go with the guy with the most championships, 6-time Super Bowl champ. I gotta go with the guy who I feel will, because Breeze is gonna retire this year. He's gonna have the most passing yards of any quarterback ever. I got to go with a guy who's 4-time Super Bowl MVP, 3-time MVP, NFL MVP. He's been to multiple Pro Bowls. He is number 199 in the draft, but has come around to be the greatest quarterback. I know this is not going to be a great pick for our Tennessee fans, but he went to Michigan, of course. Got to go with Thomas Brady, number 1 overall. So what do you guys think?
You can't go against that. I mean, I can't stand. I mean, he is who he is. He's fantastic, and I mean, but I mean, I knew that was going to be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, it's kind of disrespect if you don't. Even if you're not a fan of him, like he's the greatest, you kind of disrespect if you don't pick him 1. Honestly,
and it shows it this year too. He goes out of Belichick's system, goes to Tampa Bay. Yeah, it's first year. They're in the playoffs. They get the 5th seed this year, but I feel like they're a very dangerous team going to the playoffs here. They could, I think, make a run at it. So,
didn't he still throw 40 touchdowns?
Yeah, unbelievable.
He threw 7 more touchdowns than Jameis Winston did with Antonio Brown on his team.
Yeah.
He didn't do all that great.
No. Still, his
I'm just
age.
kidding.
A lot of less
No,
interceptions.
for sure.
than Jameis.
I'm not a Brady fan, but for sure that's the pick.
I gotta go Brady #1. I like Brady. I've seen him play once live. Some played the Panthers back in 14, I think it was, and so glad I got to see him in their heyday. And he did beat the Panthers in the Super Bowl back in 2003 or the 2004 Super Bowl. But so hate him then, but definitely I think goes down as the greatest quarterback of all time. So Thomas Brady, #1 pick. Going from 199 down to #1 here. So, Hunter, you are on the clock here. I have a feeling I know where you're going, but
I have a feeling that you all think I know where I'm going, but I'm going to go a different direction here. I also am going quarterback as well, and I'm kind of projecting a little bit here, but this guy's in his prime right now. He's currently playing on an NFL roster right now. I would take him. I would take him over anybody else. I think when all is said and done, this guy is going to break just about every single quarterback record there is out there. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes.
oh, guy in his
My
third
#2
season.
Yeah.
overall
Wow.
pick. Yeah, his stats. I mean, he's already broken several records in the postseason. Youngest player to do this, youngest player to do that. I mean, I think when all is said and done, as long as he and Andy Reid are together there in Kansas City, I think that they're going to just shatter records together. And I mean, the offense is unbelievable, obviously. So take the most dynamic offense in the NFL of these past 3 seasons and the records they've broken. I've got to go with Patrick Mahomes.
Tate, you had Patrick Mahomes in fantasy this year and didn't win at all. So, I mean,
I did. I don't regret the pick. I think Pat Mahomes is great. It helps when you have a guy on your team nicknamed the Cheetah
Sure.
that you're throwing it to. But no, I mean, I can definitely see him going down as one of the all-time greats as long as he stays healthy. I mean, I don't think it's a bad pick, honestly.
I don't either.
I think it's going to get a lot of votes too. I mean, everybody likes the trend picks, the trendy, sexy
hot
picks.
new
That
toy.
would be one of them.
And if I need a quarterback, if I need somebody we're talking about electric offenses. If I need who has the best chance to put up 40, 50 points on a night or whatever. I mean, I can't think of anybody I'd rather have than Patrick Mahomes leading my offense.
I mean, he signed the richest contract in NFL history too. I mean,
Yeah, that's insane.
True.
And those numbers are just going to keep continuing to go
oh
up.
yeah, yeah.
You need to write a formal apology to every single quarterback that you just disrespected by that.
I mean, I thought for sure that there was a guy going right here.
I did too.
But we'll see where. I'm sure he'll be picked at a later time here.
He'll be picked.
All right, Tate, you're on the board here with Keenan Allen as your pick.
No, I'm actually going to pivot. I was joking with you all, trying to psych you all out a little bit. I'm actually going Phillip Rivers. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope they go far in the playoffs this year, just for him.
Just for him, I do. I'll be cheering for them for sure.
Does he turn 52 this Tuesday?
Do what?
Yeah.
I said, does he turn 52 this Tuesday?
No, it's 52 kids he has by Tuesday.
Yes,
Gosh.
yes. That's it. I read that somewhere. I am actually going to go running back here. And this guy, anytime he stepped on the field, it was just electric. I was young during his prime, during his heyday. But you look at the stats, you look at the numbers that he put up throughout his career. It's hard to argue against him being he's definitely one of the best, but possibly the best running back of all time. I'm sure defensive coordinators had to put in specific game plans to stop this guy, but probably the most electric running back I think that we've seen in our time. Got to be Barry Sanders, man. Barry Sanders.
Good pick.
Yeah, I mean, he retired at the age of 30. I mean, so you can imagine if he'd have stayed and played another, and he didn't have to retire. It's not like he was, not still good, or something, or on his last legs. Like he could have played a few more years, put up some more stats. But I mean, just watching, old highlights of him, I mean, I'm sure he gave defensive coordinators nightmares trying to figure out a game plan to stop him. So Barry Sanders, number 1 pick at the running back position.
Good pick.
Yeah, good
I think
pick.
everybody would say they had that on their board.
Yeah, Ricky, what do you think? I know you're a Lions guy, so
Oh, and not just because he's a Lions guy, but I truly think he's the greatest running back ever. So he would have been my number 1 running back pick. And just where he retired so early, if he would have continued to play, I honestly feel like he would have shattered so many records. And I read a stat on him earlier. I think he's still to this day the only running back in history to rush for over 1,000 yards in every single season that he played.
Every one of them, yeah.
The only person in history. So
yeah, good pick. I think one of probably maybe 2 or 3 running backs that should be the top. So if he would have, I think if he had more longevity, he goes down as the greatest of all time.
Oh, yeah.
But he still may be, even with a short career. So, all right, Brett, you're on the clock here. Where do you
All
go?
right. Well, I will say that I had 2 guys who I was considering for my number 1 pick. Neither one of them were Brady, just because I'm a Brady hater. I couldn't bring myself to do it. 1B was Barry Sanders. Like, that was going to be my top pick, but I can't not pick the greatest wide receiver ever to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the 49ers, but you can't argue that Jerry Rice is the man.
Yeah.
So I'm more than happy to start my team off with Jerry Rice.
Yeah, good pick. If I didn't go quarterback, I was going him. So I think
Hands ever.
when you look at each of these positions, most of them, like, it's hard to say, like, you look at Brady or you look at Barry Sanders, there's a lot of like 1A, 1B, 1C, but receiver, there's only one, and he's far and above better than any other receiver, I think, the records that he holds and stuff. So yeah, I think that's a great pick.
Great pick.
You got the catch. I mean, just so many good memories of Jerry. Growing up, my stepdad was a Niners fan, so I remember like that team a lot growing up, and I mean, nothing like Jerry Rice. So
No.
yeah, great pick. All right, Ricky, you got 2 picks here, back to back. Where are you gonna go here?
all right, I'm going to go ahead and, I mean, I obviously would have had a couple other choices before this one for my number 1 overall, but I think it's still going to be a good one. I'm going to go quarterback here. This is definitely the person I thought Hunter Stein would have picked. But I'm going to go, in my opinion, Tom Brady's the greatest, but I do have to admit this guy would be second. As far as IQ of the game, there's nothing like seeing this guy get up to the line of scrimmage, calling audible, yell out all this mumbo jumbo,
Omaha.
Exactly. But definitely as far as IQ of the game, stats, one of the greats, Peyton Manning.
Can't argue there.
I'm glad all that worked out, and I'm glad that, Alex, I'll give you your money later just to get Ricky to pick Peyton Manning. That's all I wanted. Yeah, that was it.
I thought if there was one person that was not picking Peyton Manning, it was going to be Ricky. But if you like him picking Jordan and
Tom Brady was picked.
He picked Peyton Manning on the Heisman Trophy night when Peyton got jabbed out of the Heisman Trophy in 1997.
Yeah.
That's how that worked.
Freaking Charles
there.
Woodson.
Yeah.
Freaking Charles Woodson.
I think, great pick. I mean, I think many people consider him the greatest quarterback. He may not have as many rings as Brady, but yeah, the IQ, just what he brought to the game. I'm not a huge Manning fan. For some, Brady and Manning, the 2 guys who beat the Panthers in the Super Bowl, so I don't really care for either one of them. But
Peyton Manning and LeBron James are going to be the same compared to your Tom Brady and Michael Jordan.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, don't start that.
That's what I'm saying. Here we go.
all right, Ricky, you got another pick here. Where do you go for your second pick?
Let's see. I'm going to go running back here. I was definitely going to go Barry Sanders with my number 1 pick, but this guy isn't too shabby himself. I'm going to go with the all-time rushing leader in Emmitt Smith.
Solid pick.
Another good pick. Yeah, can't go wrong with Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, and
I wasn't a fan of his, but
I wouldn't either. I mean, the Cowboys and that with the Aikman and Michael Irving, Emmitt Smith, that trio there, I mean, phenomenal. So yeah, good pick. And he's a class act too. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, he is. Have you seen the episode with him on Peyton's Places?
I didn't see him.
It's really good. Yeah, takes him into his. He's got like a little Emmitt Smith Hall of Fame area that all of his. He's got tons of accolades in there, helmets and ball. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah. Ricky's going for the votes. I mean, he's got in this area at least probably the number one quarterback and number one running back fan wise in this area.
Yeah.
Is a Cowboy fan, and everybody here is a Peyton Manning fan. So
You're not wrong.
That's a good
Not
strategy.
wrong.
That is
Yeah.
a good strategy.
All right, Brett, you got your second pick here. You got Jerry Rice in the first. Where do you go here in your second round?
Well, the draft kind of forced my hand. I didn't plan on doing this, but if they decide to double team my boy Jerry Rice, I want somebody on the other side that's going to scare him off of that. So I don't want to pick this guy either because he destroyed my team several times throughout the course of his career.
Oh, yeah.
But I've got to go with Randy Moss, who
Dang it!
is quite
Dude,
probably the second best receiver of all time.
imagine that team, Randy Moss and Jerry Rice on the same team.
That's incredible.
Who's
Yeah.
stopping that?
You're not stopping that.
No.
So we'll go
No,
wide receiver to start.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Yeah. Your PPR points right now are off the chain. So.
Insane right now.
Yeah. Randy Moss, phenomenal. I love, like, he lives in Charlotte. So he does a lot of stuff with the Panthers and stuff. And so I'll watch a lot of his stuff. So yeah, he's awesome still today. So good pick. All right, Tate, your second pick here. Got Barry Sanders in the first. Where do you go here in the second round?
All right. Well, since Brett just sniped my pick right there, I am going to go back to the wide receiver well. And I'm going to go with a guy that, I mean, just a physical freak of nature.
Yeah.
Totally unstoppable. I mean, no matter what you did, you couldn't stop him. I mean, he was this team's only offensive piece, and they still could not stop him. Again, another guy, same team, same scenario, retired early. If he would have stayed longer, he probably would have been up there, maybe not close to catches like Jerry Rice, but as far as like yardage, touchdowns, he would have been there. I mean, how can you go wrong with a guy nicknamed Megatron, Calvin Johnson, as my wide receiver one?
Who's the Lions fan on this thing?
I know, you would think I was a
Lions
Lions fan, but
Hey, this draft right here, as long as we don't put names on this, everybody that knows Ricky hates Ricky's picks. They're gonna think that Ricky's my picks.
Oh, yeah.
And,
absolutely.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, Calvin Johnson, dude, in fantasy, if you had him on your team, you were set, and like the year that he has the most receiving yards I think it's still a record that he still holds.
Yeah, in the season,
if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, over 2,000 receiving yards, that's unreal. So, and I think that was the same year that Adrian Peterson also had the 2,000-yard rushing season. So, if I'm not mistaken. So those two that year, it was crazy. So, yeah, Calvin Johnson's amazing.
Great pick. Great.
All right,
pick.
Hunter, you got your next pick here. You got Mahomes. Who's he going to be throwing to or handing off to? Or
yes, I am right out of the gate. Every good quarterback has to have a stud receiver. Okay, there's been a couple good stud receivers already been taken, but the one I wanted is still there. I was going to go Randy Moss, but that was taken. Good pick, Brett. But I'm going to take the guy. He's second all time in yards, third in touchdown, third in grabs, and you think of a player in their prime. There's no one more dominant than Terrell Owens in his prime. He was an absolute stud, similar to Megatron, just a freak specimen. You couldn't handle him. He would outmuscle you to the ball. Physical freak. Down the field threat. Good threat for Patrick Mahomes to go down the field too. Got to go Terrell Owens at wide receiver.
That's my quarterback.
That's a quarterback, man.
Get your popcorn ready.
you go watch.
Come in and
So,
play today.
Hey, and I love a player that can talk it and back it up. And he in his prime, he could talk it and back it up.
So you need to go watch when you talk about him backing it up. He was on this show a few years ago. I think it's called Champs vs. Pros. And it was basically these guys versus like pro athletes. And so he was on there, and he gets into an
Joe's verse.
No, it was The Challenge, which is an MTV show. But there's this guy who was like, he's a physical specimen on that show, but him and T.O. go at it, and you need to go watch it. Look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Right. Yeah, it's awesome. But he couldn't handle it on there. He normally could back up his words, but not on there. So that's pretty cool. All right, yeah, good pick. T.O., I mean, the antics that he had, I mean, him and Randy Moss, and then there's two other receivers in that same time frame man, they made the NFL at that point. So
they were must-see TV.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, I got my pick here. I'm going to go with what many people consider the greatest football player in NFL history. He has left a legacy unlike any other. He's no longer with us. His charitable contributions are the best. They even name the most prestigious award in the NFL after this guy. He is, I mean, just an amazing person. His quote, "Never die easy," was pretty popular. His autobiography is also named that. But just Chicago Bears, got to go Walter Payton with my running back.
That was literally my next pick, and I'm not even lying.
Yeah.
Good pick.
I mean, Walter Payton, I mean, the way that he would run and like almost like jump and I mean, most running backs today, if you ask them, because I've talked to a lot of them and I've asked them this question, what's your, who do you draw inspiration from? And most of them will say Walter Payton. I mean, just a phenomenal player. He was, well before his time. I mean, just amazing player. So Walter Payton, I got to go with him as my running back here. So Tom Brady and Walter Payton is my two picks so far.
Good pick.
All right, my third pick here. Man, I could go. I'm not got a receiver yet, and there's, we've got some really good receivers taken on the board. I feel like I'm going to lose that if I don't pick one here. But I also kind of want to go tight end. No tight ends have been picked here, so I could pick any, and I could pick the best ones. But and I'm going to do it. I'm going to go tight end here. I'm going to go with what I consider. I mean, this guy changed the tight end position. He is also a freak of nature. There's some other guys who have more receptions than he does, more receiving yards, have better records. But this guy was must-see TV. He, especially when he was in New England, he's had a good year this year too. But got to go with Gronk as my tight end. I think there's two tight ends, and I don't know, maybe three tight ends who are in that consideration of the greatest tight end of all time. And I know most people probably put him at the bottom of that list, but I mean, dude, him and Brady, I mean, I got Brady as my quarterback. I want him throwing to Gronk. So got to go with Gronk as my tight end here. Brett, what do you think? Gronk too early of a pick for him here?
No, I think Gronk is arguably the best tight end on the board. So you got him away from anybody else. Like, I have a Patriot bias. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's hard for me to pick Patriot players. Randy Moss only played a year there, so I could get by with that. But
yeah.
No, I think that's a solid pick on tight end. Nobody can argue that he's on the top or one of the top two or three.
Yeah,
I can argue it.
Couldn't stop him. I mean, he was. There was times where just couldn't stop the guy. What are you gonna say, Tate? Sorry, I interrupted you.
I can argue that because during their primes, he was actually the second best tight end on the Patriots roster until the other one decided to murder.
Gosh.
But
I thought about going with him, but I decided against it.
Talent-wise,
Ricky will pick Hernandez later on. He always likes to pick the
I was saving him for Ricky. I knew Ricky was going to take it.
Gosh.
All right. So Gronk, and the guy's been on Shark Tank. I mean, how many other of these guys have been on Shark Tank?
True.
That is true. That's a good point.
I gotta go with Gronk here. All right, Hunter, you got your next pick here. You got Mahomes throwing to T.O. I mean, that's pretty dangerous. Who else you got to pick here?
It's pretty good. Yeah, you literally took my next pick. And if I would have thought about it, I would have taken Walter Payton before that because I don't feel like anybody would have picked Terrell Owens right there. So I should have taken Walter Payton first, but I decided not to. But my next pick, I'm going to go running back. I think Patrick Mahomes has to have a good dump off guy. I mean, I can't think of anybody better. When I think of all-time guys in their prime, this guy may have actually had the best fantasy season of all time.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to go. We already got shaking heads, but I've got to go LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah,
I love watching LT in the backfield with that dark visor. And I'm telling you, he struck intimidation. I mean, you saw that across the field. I mean, I think he still holds the most rushing records. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 28 in a single season. And so that's just, I mean, you got to go LT. If I think about stud running backs in their prime, he's one of the top ones to mind. So
Yeah, and fantasy, dude, unbelievable. If you had him on your team, you were set. I mean,
yeah, absolutely went off that year. So.
I have to say right now, Hunter, your fantasy. If we were playing fantasy here, your team is unreal. Mahomes, T.O., and LaDainian Tomlinson. I mean,
well, too bad that don't translate.
Yeah.
So,
too bad this is not a real draft because normally on those you're terrible. So, just kidding. All right, Tate. I know he probably just snapped your pick here, but who are you gonna go with your third pick here?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go that direction. He was number one on my flex. I was gonna take him in my flex position because there's nobody quite like him. As far as catching the ball in the backfield. I mean, heck, he even threw how many touchdowns did he throw in his career from the run? I mean, he did.
The versatility.
He did everything, and he was the centerpiece of that offense for a lot of years. So, great pick. But I think I am gonna go. I don't have a quarterback yet, but I've got two names on here that I really like, and I don't think that they'll get picked. So I'm going to go back to wide receiver here with this next pick. And it's a really tough one between these two guys, but I'm going to go with the name that's more of a known commodity. Guys still in the league today, still doing things, not as well known or not as good as obviously he was in his prime, but we're drafting him based off his prime. If you're going to say that Jerry Rice has the best hands ever for a wide receiver, you're going to say that this guy is the second best. He's literally changed his game over the years to be that deep threat guy, to becoming more of a slot underneath guy, and he's had longevity in the league. He's going to go down as one of the best receivers of all time. Very reliable, and I feel like starting my draft off with Calvin Johnson on one side and Larry Fitzgerald on the other, you can't really go wrong with that combo.
That was my next pick at wide receiver, man. I was a huge Larry Fitz fan. I remember watching the Heisman ceremony when he was at Pitt, dude, and just since his time at Pitt, he was on the cover of NCAA football, I believe, back in the day. And I mean, I was a huge fan of his at Pitt, and I've loved Larry Fitzgerald ever since.
And he's just such a good guy too.
I mean, man,
one of the classiest guys.
Yeah, such a good guy. Good pick.
Yeah, very good pick. I think he's, and I think you're going to see this from a couple of guys where you look at their playing career right now, they're not as good. He's a little bit older, but dude, in his prime, I mean, unreal. And I mean, just the longevity that he has at that position. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's number 2 in receiving yards now because of his longevity. I mean, just or either receiving yards or receptions. I can't remember, but I mean, just a great all-around guy too. So I always pull for Fitz. I was hoping they would make the playoffs this year, just to get him one more chance at it, but it didn't happen. But yeah, good pick. All right, Brett, you got your fourth or got your third pick rather here. You got Jerry Russ and Randy Moss. I mean, that's unbelievable.
We're starting off okay. I'm not gonna lie, I did want to pick LT here. LT was kind of what I was gonna be leaning for because I could use a good running back, and he was my favorite one on the board left. But I figure, I started off receiver. Let me get another receiver who masquerades as a running back. This guy was the original Christian McCaffrey before Christian McCaffrey did what Christian McCaffrey's doing. But he was electric running and catching the ball. I've got to go with Marshall Faulk for my running back right here.
Good pick.
Yeah.
I was going either LT or Marshall Faulk on my pick, and I went LT. So yeah, I knew. I mean, back out of the backfield, it don't get any better than Marshall Faulk right there.
Yeah. Those years at the Rams. I mean, yeah, phenomenal. I feel like we're picking all the guys who are on the NFL Network as broadcasters now too. Yeah, LT, Marshall Faulk. Yeah, great pick. All right, Ricky, you got 2 picks here.
All right. I'm going to stay in the wide receiver field here. This guy's definitely one of the all-time greats. He may not necessarily be top 5 on anybody's board, but he was always a consistent player each season. If you look at his all-time stats, he was top 5 in career receiving touchdowns, top 5 in receptions, top 10 in overall receiving yards. And I think it's safe to say he's Peyton Manning's #1 target in his career. Got Peyton Manning as my quarterback. Might as well go with him as my receiver. Going with Marvin Harrison.
He is really going for the votes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, everybody's gonna think that's my team.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison, that duo there, pretty unstoppable. So,
Oh yeah.
Of all time. Yeah.
put the Colts on.
And then they had Reggie Wayne over there on the other side. I mean, hard to stop.
Tough offense.
Yeah, good pick. All right, Ricky, you got one more pick here.
All right, I'm going to go. I think he could possibly be picked here soon, so I'm going to go and get out of the way. There's not a lot of options on this one. I'm going to go tight end here. Just like you said, Alex, this is, I feel like, probably one of 3 guys who would be the clear, top favorite for tight end. This guy had a heck of a career. He's great on TV now, too. I'm going to go with Tony Gonzalez. My tight end.
Yeah, I was having a hard time picking Gronk over Gonzalez because he's far above as far as records go. He's up there. I mean, he's still got more. He's like top 10 in receiving yards, and he's not a receiver. I mean,
Yeah.
not in. So, I mean, that's just unbelievable. So,
Good pick.
yeah. Are you picking Falcons Gonzalez or are you picking Chiefs Gonzalez?
I guess Chiefs.
Yeah, I think so too.
Chiefs
Yeah.
Gonzalez. Yeah.
Yeah, good pick. I think you have the best tight end off the board there. So yeah, good pick. All right, Brett, you got your next pick here. Where are you gonna go?
So I need a flex, a tight end, and a QB. There's only one other person left to pick a QB, so I think I can kind of still hold off a little bit on that. I could pick my tight end here and probably ruin Tate's choice because I'm thinking he might be going with this guy relatively soon. But I think I'm going to go off the board here a little bit and go flex. And I'm going to lock up, in case I need to sit Marshall Faulk, give him a breather. I'm going to give the ball to somebody else who was a little bit of a bane in my Packers team a little bit. And that is Terrell Davis. I'm going to pick here for my flex position.
Yeah.
I love Terrell Davis.
He's more of a bruiser type guy. He'll be able to pound it a little bit more up the middle more than Falk will. He'll be a good little.
You definitely
person
are
to
going
give
with
him a
the broadcasters here with Terrell Davis now too. So yeah, no, that's a good pick. Yeah, he was unbelievable in his prime. Great pick. I think sometimes like name wise, he's not probably as known, but he was unbelievable. So yeah, great pick. Ricky, what do you think? You a Terrell Davis fan?
Oh yeah, like I said, he was one of my favorite players growing up. So that's all I picked.
All right, Tate, you got your 4th pick here. You got Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitz.
All right, I'm going to go flex, and I'm going to go with a running back in my flex because we all know how the NFL is today. And there's no such thing as workhorse running backs anymore, hardly. There's a few. You can name a handful. So, when I want to spell my guy, I mean, you want somebody that can come in there and basically, do the job as well as the first guy. So this guy, again, he's probably not a household name, but he was kind of one of the pioneers of the kind of receiving running backs. And if I'm not mistaken, he was the first running back to have over 1,000 yards rushing and 500 yards receiving in the same season. When you saw him out there, just looked intimidating, as they always do. Those Raiders in that silver and black. I'm going to go Marcus Allen for running back in my flex.
Good pick.
Yeah,
Definitely look up some highlights on Marcus Allen. I mean, it's insane watching him play.
Yeah,
where did he go to college at?
USC.
I think he might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think it was USC.
Well, you don't get him, Tate, if you can't remember what college you went to. So.
Dang it! I knew I should have looked that up.
All right, yeah, good pick. All right, Hunter, you got your next pick here.
All right. For my next pick, guys, I just saw a stat, and I'm not even lying. Okay. From ages 25 to 30, okay, this guy averaged 84.5 receptions a season, over 1,000 yards, 12 yards a reception, and 6 touchdowns. Okay. Now, there's a guy that just got picked by the name of Tony Gonzalez, where this guy is 84.5 receptions a season. Tony Gonzalez was at 76.7. This guy averaged over 1,077 yards a season. This Tony Gonzalez, 944. Okay, 12 yards of reception. Tony Gonzalez, 12.3, and touchdowns is 6.2, right on the dot. So this player that I'm getting ready to name was over more receptions, more yards. I think he's going to go down as the best tight end. I mean, he is going to be him and Gronk there. Everybody's kind of done it. I picked Patrick Mahomes for my quarterback. I'm going Travis Kelce with my tight end. When all is said and done, he is going to break records. He's going to be one of the top 2 tight ends to ever play the game, in my opinion. Next to Gronk, Travis Kelce will be right there. And I think we're blessed to watch both of them play right now. So
Good pick.
Yeah, I think it's now 4 seasons in a row over 1,000 yards. No other.
5.
5. Yeah, 5. Yeah.
5 seasons in a row.
Yeah, it's crazy what he's done.
Did you ever see his dating show, Catching Kelsey?
No,
Yeah, you need to go watch that.
did not.
And I watched it a few years. It's a couple of years old now at this point, but yeah.
Fun fact.
This is an honest question though, because I really don't remember. During Gonzalez's heyday with the Chiefs, who was his quarterback?
Joe, was it not Joe Montana?
He had
For a
him.
year or two.
Yeah.
Only for a couple years. Montana was only there for a couple years.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all the quarterbacks he had.
Elvis Gerbach, maybe.
Mahomes throwing to Kelsey.
That's true. Yeah, you put Tony Gonzalez with Mahomes.
Well, you take Peyton Manning off the Colts. I don't know if Marvin Harrison does.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
We could play
Him,
that
Jimmy
game
Clausen,
with
and see how he
just
plays.
That's true. You can play that game with anybody, though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
All right, good pick. I think it's a great pick with Kelsey. I do think that he goes down. He'll be a top 5 tight end of all time when it's all said and done, and that could be number 1. I mean, the numbers he's putting up are unreal. So,
Yeah.
And he is a fantasy
Stud muffin.
beast. I mean,
crazy.
yeah, unbelievable. All right, so I got 2 picks here. I know one of them for sure. I'm going to pick in the next round. I don't have a receiver yet. I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to go ahead and pick my flex here. I'm going to pick another running back. So I've got Brady and Gronk. I've got that duo. I've got Walter Payton, a running back. I need another running back to be behind Walter Payton. I got to go with who I think he may go down as one of the greatest running backs of all time. I mean, the numbers that he's put up is unbelievable too. He's still in the league. He's not playing he had a lot of touchdowns this year, had 2 touchdown games. Definitely not like he was at one time, but I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson. Back in the Vikings, unbelievable. He was the 2012 MVP of the league. He 7-time Pro Bowler. He has over 14,000 rushing yards. He has 118 rushing touchdowns. The dude was unbelievable. The year that he about broke Eric Dickerson's rushing record, I thought he had it that year. And so got to go with Adrian Peterson here. He does not beat his kids either. That is a misnomer. Does not do that. So got to go Adrian Peterson.
Sure.
When you were giving up all this, when you were kind of building it up, I for whatever reason, I forgot about Adrian Peterson. I literally thought you were going Frank Gore.
Frank Gore, longevity-wise, is up there.
Had several 2 touchdown games. I was like, he's going Frank Gore with this.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I thought about picking AP over Terrell Davis, but I decided to go with Davis. That's a solid pick. You can't go wrong with Peterson.
And he even missed that year with his injury. And then came back early.
And was phenomenal.
It
Yeah,
was great. Yeah.
Back in the day too, it was him and Arian Foster, fantasy wise. You wanted one of those 2 guys with your first 2 picks, and then Calvin Johnson was right there too at your 3rd pick. There's Adrian Peterson was phenomenal. All right, I got to go receiver here, and I've waited a long time. A lot of the big names are off the board. I mentioned earlier that there were in their prime, you had T.O., you had Randy Moss, and there was 2 other guys at this time frame who were must-see TV. All the antics they would pull, the end zone celebrations. I got to go here with my favorite player of all time. I got to go a personal pick here. I got to go with the 2005 Triple Crown winner. He had the most receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. Was also comeback player of the year that year. I got to go with Ice Up son, Steve Smith Sr. from the Panthers. Greatest player, in my opinion, for the Panthers of all time. He was phenomenal. The words that he would say after games when he left Carolina. No, let me take that back. He didn't leave Carolina. Carolina, Dave Gettleman let him go like an idiot. He should have been fired. Dave Gettleman should have been. They should have kept Steve Smith, let him retire a Panther. And he went to Baltimore and said, wear those goggles because there's going to be blood and guts everywhere. He come out 2 touchdowns. I was cheering for him that day. Even though they were playing the Panthers, I was still cheering for Steve Smith. Number 89, like I said, my favorite player of all time. He's going into the Hall of Fame this next year. I think he should at least. He was must-see TV. He was a short receiver, the greatest under 6-foot receiver of all time, in my opinion. He played, with a lot of these cornerbacks who wanted to mess with him and safeties and stuff, try to push him around, and he was always pushing them down, even though he was smaller. I could go all day talking about Steve Smith Sr. He's just, like I said, my favorite player of all time. I love Steve Smith. And when this past year, year before last, they brought him back to put him in the Panthers Hall of Honor. He come out, he did a speech, and he takes off his shirt. He's wearing his Panthers jersey on the field. I got tears in my eyes. It was amazing. Love Steve Smith. So there's my receiver.
Good pick.
A true Bulldog,
Oh, yeah.
and he just wanted it more than every other player on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no one out there that you could watch a Panthers game and be like, that dude is special, because he was out there. And I mean, you could just tell that he wanted every yard more than anybody. Would just drag tacklers too. I mean, for a small guy, you'd think, oh, he'd catch and go. No, dude was just bowling over people too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
Talent aside, your last 2 picks have the most heart of any 2 guys in the NFL I think have ever played.
Yeah.
For sure, they're just 100% try hard all the time.
And Steve Smith, one thing about him, you look at Jerry Rice, look at his quarterback. He had Montana. You look at Randy Moss. He had Brady. I know. I mean, some of these players. Yeah. What's that?
Dante Culpepper.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, some of them had good quarterbacks. Some of them didn't. But Steve Smith never played with what I would consider a top tier quarterback. Cam was still early in his years when he was playing. I think of course, Cam went on in 2015 with the MVP, but Steve Smith wasn't there then. But he had Jimmy Clausen, he had Jake Delhomme, and he played with some terrible quarterbacks. They were never a really good team either. And they did go to Super Bowl 2003 with him. But he was another thing about Steve Smith too. He was basically signed to be a punt returner, and then turns it out to be this phenomenal receiver. So Steve Smith.
Good pick.
All right.
Good pick.
He also owns Food City. Or wait, that's another Steve Smith. Never mind.
Easy now.
All right, Hunter, you got your next pick here. You've got
Great basketball
Mahomes.
player too. Solid NBA player, Steve Smith.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got T.O., Tomlinson, and Kelsey. Where do you go with your next pick here?
All right. For my next pick, I've got one more wide receiver I need to pick, and several good ones have already been taken. But I got to give Patrick Mahomes somebody else to throw to. I got to give him a dog on the other side of Terrell Owens. And when I think of physical, imposing wide receivers, I like those bigger physical wide receivers. I think about wide receivers of dynasties in the 90s. I think of the Cowboys. I think of Michael Irvin and just the dominance that he put on the field and stuff. And he was going to go get it. There was no defensive back that was going to stand in his way. And I loved another guy that talked a lot of smack, but backed it up on the field and everything in their prime. And if you go back to even his days at University of Miami, if you've seen those ESPN 30 for 30s on the U and stuff, they just they were going to roll over you, and there was nothing that you could do to stop them and stuff. And that was his mentality as a receiver. And so I'll pick Michael Irvin with my last receiver pick.
We keep picking these NFL Network broadcasters. I mean, Kurt Warner's getting picked for the next quarterback pick. For
Crap, that was my flex.
yeah.
Oh, no, you spoiled my pick.
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah, Michael Irvin, and nothing like watching Michael Irvin in the suits that he wears on NFL Network. I mean,
Yeah.
the
He's
style
still-
this guy has. I mean,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
One of the most charismatic guys I think that there are. I mean,
Yeah.
like just very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
All right, Tate, you got your next pick here. You got Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Fitz, Marcus Allen. So you need a quarterback and a tight end.
Yeah. So again, I've got 2 quarterbacks still on my board that I really like. Everybody else has a quarterback pretty much. So I'm going to go with the tight end here. And I mean, it's obvious who I'm going
You don't
with.
pick this guy here.
I mean, it's obvious who I'm going with. I mean, the guy, basketball player turned football player, kind of set that standard. You got guys like Jimmy Graham following those same footsteps, and some other guys who were basketball players who, I mean, Gates may have been the best to ever do the box out and just go get the football. I mean, I think that was him that kind of set that whole standard where you just box them out and go and get it. And him and Rivers had one of the best tight end connections of all time. He was an excellent route runner. Durability was always out there, was a great team player, good in the locker room. So I'm going to roll out probably, in my opinion, the second best tight end of all time to Tony Gonzalez, and that's going to be Antonio Gates.
Good pick.
Definitely a good pick.
He's better than Kelsey for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop.
When we were talking earlier, and I said there's three tight ends, it was him, Gonzalez, and Gronk.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, Kelsey may go down later on, but as far as retired players, so yeah, I thought, Tate, if you didn't pick Antonio Gates somewhere in this draft,
I was waiting on somebody else to pick him because
I couldn't believe he was still there this late. I mean, honestly, I really didn't expect Kelsey to go ahead of him, and I didn't expect Gronk to go ahead of him. So I'm glad to get him this late.
yeah, good pick.
Good pick.
Also very fantasy relevant too. So
Yes,
it is-
very, very fantasy relevant during his heyday.
Phillip Rivers throwing to Antonio Gates. That was, I mean, you knew it was happening.
I
so-
mean, you were guaranteed a touchdown every single game. I mean, pretty much when they were both in their primes.
for sure. Good pick. All right, Brett, you got your next pick here. You got a quarterback left and a tight end left as well.
Well, considering I know I'm going to get whatever tight end I want and whatever quarterback I want too, because Tate, I think, is the only one left to pick a QB. I waited a while, but arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time is still on the board.
Yeah.
My heart wants to go one way, but I can't not go with somebody who's undefeated in Super Bowls and also pair him up with a former teammate.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Joe Montana to be the QB for my team.
Yeah, that's a steal here in the 5th round. I mean,
yeah,
you consider him the greatest quarterback of all time, and you're giving him the 5th round. So, yeah.
that's good pick. I didn't
Imagine him throwing that to Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. I mean,
Yeah,
Crazy.
You're not stopping it.
No, that's insane.
yeah, great pick. And I'm with you. I know the other guy you were thinking, you were wanting to go with. Your heart
I
was
wanted
going,
to. I wanted to.
but you got to go with the guy with more championships. So, all right, Ricky, you got your final 2 picks here.
Okay, I'm gonna go my flex here. I'm gonna go running back. Okay. I'm gonna go this guy. If you think about him, he's definitely one of the pioneers of the game. The game has obviously changed a lot since he played, but just his name alone, I can't think of anybody that's ever said anything bad about the guy, just in his personal life and his playing career. He still holds to this day the record of 104.3 yards per game in rushing. That still stands number 1 as of today. I'm going to go with Jim Brown.
Jim Brown had to be picked in this draft.
that was literally my pick. Crap. Good
Yeah,
pick.
I was surprised he lasted this long. I know he's not as, I mean, he's known, but his playing time is not as known as some of the other guys we've been picked just because he's before our time. But yeah. And now today's you see him at the Hall of Fames and other things, and he's just, like I said, classy dude. So for sure, Jim Brown.
Good pick.
Good pick. All right, you got your last pick here.
Okay. Goodness. I'm going to go. So I've got.
I can't believe you haven't picked.
What's that?
I can't believe you haven't picked OJ Simpson yet.
I know, right? I'm going to go with. Let's see. I've done. What am I on here, Alex? Just running back or no?
Alex, go over Ricky's picks for him. Bless his heart.
Yeah. So you got Peyton Manning as your quarterback. You've got your running back Emmitt Smith and your flex Jim Brown. You got Marvin Harrison, Tony Gonzalez. So you need another receiver here.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with this guy. I don't believe he's been picked, which actually surprises me. I'm going to go with a guy. He doesn't play anymore. He's been out of the league for a few years. He's one of these guys that definitely had the ego, but he can always back it up as well. Crazy touchdown celebrations. I'm going to go with Chad Ochocinco.
Dang it.
Jocinco.
I wanted him as my my last pick.
Now with a big enough ego to change his last name.
It's true.
And he changed it incorrectly because.
You guys remember 05, he created the list. I think it was like who covered 85 and basically a ranking of all the defensive backs that guarded him that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I mentioned earlier, I said there was 4 receivers at that time frame. Their antics, touchdown celebrations, Steve Smith, Randy Moss, T.O., and Ocho Cinco. I mean, yeah, they were fun to watch. So I remember at that time, for some reason, I really started watching the Bengals a lot. I kind of became a fan of them only because of him. I mean, yeah, he was awesome. So, and he played in New England in Super Bowls too. So, yeah. All right, good pick. So Manning, Emmitt Smith, Marvin Harrison, Gonzalez, Jim Brown, and Chad Johnson. That's a pretty good draft there, Ricky. All right, Brett, you got your last pick. You got a tight end left here. Where do you go for your last pick?
Well, I could make the argument for a former Tennessee Vol right here. I could make the argument for a pick that, Alex would probably be on my side for too, honestly here. But
Cordarrelle Patterson, here he comes.
But I can't. I feel like I got to reunite another teammate with a teammate, and I think he's clearly probably the top tight end of those left, and arguably a case for the top 3 or 4. And he's also one of those charismatic individuals who happens to be on TV as well. Shannon Sharp is going to be my tight end.
Shannon Sharp.
Good pick.
Good pick.
He was that tight end that kind of did all those amazing tight end things before the run of Gates and Gonzalez and Jimmy Graham and Gronk. He kind of started that whole trend. That's a great pick.
Yeah, I agree. Great pick. And I know you're thinking, we'll talk about some honorable mentions in a minute, but yeah, there's 2 tight ends that I still actually 3 tight ends I started on my list of potentials. And you mentioned 2 of them there that I knew you were going to pick. So yeah, great one there. All right, Tate, you got your last pick here. Where are you going to go with your last pick? I think you could need a quarterback, right?
Quarterback, yep. This guy's going to anchor my team. And I can't believe that he is still here because the guy did.
We all know who you're
as a quarterback that wasn't done during his time. Nobody was doing it. Nobody was throwing the ball around like he was. If this guy had been throwing to Calvin Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald and Jerry Rice's of the world, he would have had a championship. So championships out the door. We're going on pure talent. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, at least top 3. And that's going to be Dan Marino. Dan the man. Greatest quarterback ever to not win a Super Bowl. Should have won one. But, I mean, the guy was out there throwing for 5,000 yards in a league that quarterbacks just weren't really doing that during that time. And honestly, one of my favorite players growing up, I had my Marino jersey when I was a kid. So Dan Marino is going to be my quarterback. And honestly, I really wanted to go Mike Vick here, but I didn't. But, figured I'd catch too much flack for it.
Yeah. And he was great in Ace Ventura too. So can't go wrong with that.
I mean, he's an actor. I met him at the golf tournament there at the old farm a few years ago. Super nice guy. Got my picture with him.
Better than Bubba Watson.
Yeah, Bubba Watson's a jerk. So
Really?
yeah,
Oh.
he is. He is not a nice guy.
I think we lost Brett here.
He's on mute.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay, there you are. Brett was like, forget this.
He went to go.
I got my team and I'm out.
He's like,
He
I'm
thought
done.
you were picking Brett Favre here, so he was gonna get mad.
No, I thought about going with the old gunslinger and Brett Favre, but I had to go Dan Marino, man.
No, I agree. Yeah, good pick. You said the greatest quarterback to not win a Super Bowl. Are you saying that over Phillip Rivers?
Yes. Unfortunately,
I have to agree with that.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Phillip Rivers, and I love him. But yeah, Marino, stats wise, I think, especially given the way that the league was back then. I mean, it was a running league, it was a defensive league. I mean, and to do what he did back then, I mean, if he was playing in the league now with the receivers that are here now, I mean, or even then, if he had better receivers and a better team around him, I mean, I think he would have, But I mean, honestly, I can't name one guy that he was throwing the ball to.
Yeah.
Like one Dolphins receiver.
Right. Yeah.
That,
Besides Jim Carrey and Ace Ventura. Other than that, that's the one that I can remember.
and I mean, and Jim Carrey did go to a couple of Pro Bowls, but I mean, he just wasn't that great.
Yeah. All right, Hunter, you got your last pick here. You got your flex. Where are you going to go with your last pick?
With my flex, I'm going to go receiver. Okay. And I mean, just capping off the most perfect offense of all time. This guy had, oh my gosh, Ricky. This guy, okay, let me read this off here. Ranks fourth all time in receiving touchdowns with 130. Okay. He went over 1,000 yards, 8 straight seasons. 8 straight seasons with over 1,000 yards. Everybody. I'm going to go with the Purple People Eaters. Number 2 here, Chris Carter.
Yeah.
For my flex position.
Yeah, that's a good. That's once again another NFL Network broadcaster. Let's just. Actually, he was ESPN, I think, but
that's what steered me to that point.
Yeah, Chris Carter. Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, great player. Brad Miller will vote for your draft just on that alone. So
double-digit touchdowns 5 times.
Yeah.
I just want to go on record and say none of my picks are NFL broadcasters, so I should get extra points for that.
Good, yeah. Good. All right, yeah, good pick. All right, last pick of the draft here. I got to go with, I feel, the greatest, and I can't believe I'm going to say this because it's from a team that I hate. I despise this team. My most hated team in the NFL, but I got to go with this guy here. I feel like he is the greatest current wide receiver in the game. So now, he's not had the best year this year, or maybe in the last couple of years, our team's not been that great. But when you put together, you say, name the top receivers in the game right now. Yeah, there's some guys who are up and coming who may, DeAndre Hopkins or Cheetah, or there's some other guys out there that are phenomenal right now. But this guy, the longevity that he's had, I got to go with Julio Jones here. And I can't believe I'm picking a Falcon here, but let me just read some of his NFL records. Most games with over 250 receiving yards. 2 of those being against the Panthers, unfortunately. Most games with 300 plus receiving yards. That's unbelievable. Fastest to 7,000 receiving yards. Fastest to 9,000. Fastest to 10. Fastest to 11. Fastest to 12,000. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. Most receiving yards in first 100 games. This guy has just been unbelievable in the NFL. Like I said, I hate the team. I hate Matt Ryan with a passion, but Julio Jones, I got a little bit of a soft spot for him just because he's just such a good player. But he has torched us so many times as a Panthers fan. But I remember a couple years ago when he went off for like over 250 yards, and we cut like 3 of our defensive backs after that game because I mean he just torched every one of them, and he always does. So, but got to go with Julio Jones here as my last pick.
Good pick.
That's a good pick. Yeah,
Good pick.
Matt Ryan or Julio Jones hates Matt Ryan too because he refuses to throw him the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you have one of the best offenses or offensive weapons in the last decade, and you don't throw him touchdowns.
Yeah. Who had him in a fantasy this year? Was that you, Ricky, or?
Oh, yeah, that's me. Yep.
Yeah. I feel like you get him every year. I don't know why, but I feel like you always have him. I may be wrong.
Probably so.
It's him or Andy. Him or Andy has him. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, good draft here. So let me just recap real quick. So Ricky's got Peyton Manning, Emmitt Smith, Jim Brown as the running backs, Marvin Harrison, and Chad Ochocinco Johnson, and then Tony Gonzalez. That's a very good draft there. Brett's got Joe Montana thrown to Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. I mean, that's sick. Marshall Faulk as his running back, Terrell Davis as his backup, and then Shannon Sharp at tight end. Tate's got Dan Marino. I mean, that's pretty amazing here in the last round. What a steal. And he's thrown to Calvin Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald, Antonio Gates, and then he's got Barry Sanders and Marcus Allen as running back. Hunter's got Mahomes, the greatest quarterback currently in the NFL. He's thrown to T.O., he's thrown to Travis Kelce, he's thrown to Michael Irvin, he's thrown to Chris Carter, and then he's got LaDainian Tomlinson as his running back. And then I've got Brady, and he's throwing to Steve Smith and Julio Jones. He's got Walter Payton at running back, and then he's got Adrian Peterson as his backup, and then he's got Gronk at tight end. So good draft here. Let's go over a couple honorable mentions before we wrap up. We mentioned a couple of these already, but Brett Favre not getting picked is pretty remarkable. I'm surprised that he didn't get picked. Any other
Vic not getting picked was kind of
who?
Michael Vick.
Oh yeah.
I really wanted to go with him on my last pick because I mean, when you think of dangerous quarterbacks, I mean, he was the most dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, if we're thinking, I'm not saying like best quarterback of all time, but if you're thinking like electric quarterbacks, that, you know, that because that's what the draft was the most electric offense. You put together the most pieces on the most electric offense. I mean, you don't know what Michael Vick's going to do.
Yeah.
And he can burn you so many different ways. So
Yeah. In all honesty, my teasing was not about Brett Favre. I was probably going to go with Aaron Rodgers over Favre.
Ah,
We were
okay.
talking the most dangerous
yeah.
because he can get out of the pocket and make every single throw that Favre can make better. So,
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Probably, I think after Mahomes, probably the second best quarterback in the NFL right now. I mean, he's had a
the
phenomenal.
undisputed MVP of the year.
Yeah, I do
so.
think he deserves an MVP this year for sure.
Yeah.
He deserves it this year. I agree.
You got Drew Brees out there who still has the record right now. I think Brady
He's on my
Williams
list.
him, but
He's on my list.
Drew Brees. You got John Elway, Jim Kelly, a couple others.
He's young.
Yeah, and you've got Jimmy Clausen. I mean, nobody better than Clausen. I mean,
John
Hey,
Chris
Kitna,
Winkie.
if I didn't have
Winkie,
so many Lions, I would have gone John Kitna.
Dan Orlovsky.
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
going back to commentators or analysts,
Yeah,
How did Tony Romo not get picked?
right?
yeah.
He's the
Romo,
best analyst. If this was analyst, I would have gone with that.
Oh, I'd have went number one with him. Yeah, and think about like some of the old timers that know we didn't pick any of these guys. You got guys like Unitas. You got Bart Starr. You've got Terry Bradshaw. I mean, yeah, a lot of good old timers that we didn't pick here, but a little bit before our time. Running backs, I feel like we really exhausted probably the best of the running backs. But any honorable mentions here?
Yeah, Eric Dickerson.
Dickerson, I almost picked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dickerson.
Gail Sayers,
Yeah.
another good one.
Yeah.
And then I think in the current NFL, I mean, Derrick Henry.
If he does another couple of years, he's
The
he's gonna be
stats
up
that he's
there.
put up is unbelievable. I mean, he has the most 200-yard games of any running back right now. McCaffrey, I know he didn't have a good year this year, but I mean, last year was one of the greatest statistical seasons of all time for a running back.
And then I cursed him.
1,000. I mean,
Yeah. Then Brett got all that.
yeah. Then Brett got in this year. Any other running backs?
I think, in his prime, when we're talking dangerous running backs, in his prime, I mean, Shady McCoy.
Yeah.
One of the
Good point.
best.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another guy too. In another Kansas City guy. You guys know what I'm talking about, running back wise.
Larry Johnson.
Priest Holmes.
Well, you got Priest Holmes, but I'm thinking of Jamal Charles.
Oh,
yeah.
Charles. I forgot about Charles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jamal
it's a good
Charles.
pick. He had a
Chris
2,000
Johnson.
yard year one year too, I think,
Yeah.
or close to it.
I'd say one of my favorite running backs, especially fantasy wise, was Matt Forte in Chicago.
Yeah. I forgot about Matt for a second.
Yeah, he was good.
Oh, speaking of that, just remind Curtis Martin is another guy who kind of gets overlooked.
Yeah.
Curtis Martin's a guy.
All right. What about receivers? I think we really exhausted the receiver. Every receiver that I marked down was picked, but any other receivers you guys can think of?
There's
I think-
one.
Go ahead.
Okay, there's one that I thought of. He's not gonna have all the stats and everything, but he's just when you think of this guy, he's a guy you're like, yeah, I want him on my team, and that's Hines Ward for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Good pick.
I think Andre Johnson, the Texans. I mean, he never had a great quarterback, but he was awesome.
Beast, yeah.
I was this close to going him and Calvin together, and that would have been a pretty nice combo.
Yeah.
Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who were you gonna say, Hunter?
No, I was asking you, Alex, who you said, but you said Johnson. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Andre Johnson. I think like current NFL. I mean, I think DeAndre Hopkins is so good, and he has played with terrible quarterbacks really too. I mean, he had a good year this year, and Deshaun Watson was good for him too, but he played with a lot of terrible quarterbacks. I mean, Michael Thomas last year, one of the greatest statistical seasons of all time. So Michael Thomas in New Orleans.
Antonio Brown was a surprise.
Yeah,
I mean,
Antonio Brown.
his
Yeah.
run that he had of like 6 years. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
can't
Well,
argue.
I thought Alex, with the way you were prefacing and leading up to it, currently in the league, but it's had him down the last couple of years and all that stuff. I really thought you were going Antonio Brown with your last pick.
Yeah, Antonio Brown in his prime in Pittsburgh was untouchable. I mean, he was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good.
Did anybody say Reggie Wayne?
We kind of mentioned him earlier, but there's a
Okay.
Marvin Harrison. But yeah, Reggie Wayne was good.
Another guy in the same vein as Derrick Henry, as far as that guy, and it's a homer pick. But if Devontae Adams throws another couple
Oh,
years
yeah.
of this consistency,
Yeah.
he's going to be in the conversation too.
This year was nuts for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Devontae Adams this year.
He won Brad the league.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
In all honesty,
yeah, I agree. Stephon Diggs, I mean, this year was
Yeah,
great too. I don't know if
true.
he'll go down as one of the greats, but I mean, great
he had
year.
a great year for sure.
And then tight end, Brett, you mentioned earlier there was two guys. You're thinking a Tennessee guy, Jason Witten, I'm assuming, and then
Yeah.
Greg Olson as the guy I was thinking about. Greg Olson, I mean, he was before Kelsey, he had a record of going into the 1,000-yard seasons, and then had some foot issues and ankle issues, and kind of kept him out of it. But what about tight ends? Any other tight ends?
Kellen Winslow,
Yeah.
senior.
Senior, yeah,
Yeah.
like all time, yeah.
Jimmy Graham should get a name thrown like his early couple years. Jimmy
Yeah.
Graham was
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
in New
unguardable.
Orleans, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Unguardable.
I remember like those are the years like Gronk and him would be picked like second round every year in fantasy. And if you got one of them, you were set at tight end. I'll tell you an older guy too. I mean, he's more known, of course, as his coaching days with Mike Ditka.
Yeah.
That's good call.
So Ozzie Newsome, also more known for his GM duties in Baltimore, but also a great tight end. So, all right, good draft here. Real quick, let's go over. You got your teams. Who's going to be coaching your team? Throw me out the coach of your team. Tate, who you going to go with as your coach?
Well, I'm glad you picked me first because I am gonna go with Bill Belichick. I mean, the obvious pick. You look at his playoff record, and you look at all the other coaches' playoff records, and they're not even close to even as many playoff attempts as he is. And so, I mean, he's got the record for most playoff wins. I'm going with the mastermind, Bill Belichick. I know this year was a down year, but of course, he, half his defense was gone. Picked up Cam late. But yeah, Bill Belichick is just offensive mastermind. And I think guys in the locker room respect him. So Belichick's going to be coaching my team.
Yeah, Brett, who would be your coach?
There's a couple things that come to mind, but I'm going to pick Jimmy Johnson will coach my team.
There you go.
He never got a fair shake in Dallas, which I'm glad because screw Dallas. But I think he's a really good coach, real good coach that people kind of overlook. So I'm going Jimmy Johnson.
I agree with that. You being a Packers fan, I thought that coach thing was going somewhere else. But
Yeah. I mean,
I
you're
did
going to
too.
go with the guy with the trophies named after. Yeah. Ricky, who would you pick? Is it going to be a Harbaugh?
Yeah, close second. I would go with the guy that he is in a class of his own as the only coach of the only perfect team in NFL history.
Yeah.
Tom Shula.
Yeah.
nice.
Good
It
pick.
is ate at his steakhouse as well in Miami, which is also very good. So, Hunter, who would be your coach?
Bill Fulmer.
Butch Jones. Bring it.
Derek Dooley. Derek Dooley.
Baby.
Oh my gosh. No, given my team, okay, you put them together with who they've got, I'm going Andy Reid with my coach.
Of course.
Hey, you string him and Patrick Mahomes together, they're going to win 3 or 4 Super Bowls. They're going to get there. They're going to set records and break records. His offense is perfect for my scheme that I've got going on with my team. I'm going Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Not that guy.
Not that guy. I would have to
We'll be
go.
in Knoxville for 72 more hours.
Who's eating at Calhoun's tonight that the media is looking at? What coach is eating down there tonight?
I heard that Hugh Freeze was down there. He was steak.
John Gruden was seen at the steakhouse.
He was seen there for sure. The groomers are back.
Oh now they're humors, not groomers. It's Hugh Freeze.
Oh yeah.
Hugh-
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Gotta love a good Tennessee football coaching.
Oh,
So
yeah. So I got to go with my coach here. I mean, I could go Lombardi. That would be the easy pick, but I'm going to go with a guy who's a two-time coach of the year. He's still in the league. He brought a team that was terrible, that is been in array for so many years, brought them to the playoffs this year. Got to go with Ron Rivera, my guy from Carolina. He, like I said, Riverboat Ron, yeah, and he's not going to go down as the greatest coach of all time or anything like that, but just a class act. Love Ron Rivera, just a personal pick there for me. Overcome cancer this year, so got to go Riverboat Ron.
Should get Coach of the Year this year.
Yeah, I think
I'd give it to him.
3-time Coach of the Year. I think that will be a record. So if he gets it, I got the.
I mean, LaFleur has an argument, but I wouldn't be upset if they gave it to Rivera at all.
No, Rivera will go down in Chargers history as one of the many mistakes that they've made over their course of their existence. So there's many of them, and Rivera being not let go, but I guess he did. I guess they did
let him go,
fire him. So that was dumb, but whatever. That's the Charger way.
Yeah. All right. One other quick thing. Take 2 more minutes here. We'll go the reverse order. Best defensive player. You get to pick one defensive player on your team. Hunter, who would you pick?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I gotta go Reggie White with that, period.
Reggie White.
Gotta go with the Minister of Defense. I gotta go Reggie White.
Yeah. Ricky, who you pick?
Charles Woodson all day.
Charles Woodson. Yeah. Brett?
Oh, well, since Hunter picked Reggie White, which is my favorite player of all time, I will go with Lawrence Taylor, who is arguably the better defensive player of all time.
Yeah,
So.
LT. Yeah. Great in the water boy as well. So all I think about is
Also true.
All right, Tate, who's your if you don't go Junior Seau here, I mean
That's true. This guy may or may not have murdered someone, but Ray Lewis.
that's who I was gonna pick. That's who I was gonna pick. Yeah.
May or may not.
I'm gonna go with my homer pick as well. I gotta go Kuechly here. We'll go down as the greatest linebacker in 8 seasons. He had the stats in his 8 seasons in the league. I hate he retired early, but I mean, just and also class act. So I'm gonna go with Kuechly here. So
Not JJ Watt. You don't want to
I
pick
hate
JJ
JJ
Watt?
Watt with a passion. I will never pick JJ Watt. Might as well pick. If I got Kuechly, I got to go with the signed Kuechly hat here. So
There you go.
got to go with my guy. So
There you go.
all right, good draft, guys. Appreciate it. Next week, the draft will be. You can start thinking about it. It's going to be vacation spots.
Ooh.
Nice.
So you're going to pick a beach. You're going to pick a non-beach place. So somewhere inland. You're going to pick a theme park. You're going to pick a, what else did I have? An international spot, and then a miscellaneous that can be anything.
Nice. Cool.
That's next week. We'll do vacation spots. So
I'm picking Myrtle Beach, just to let you know.
Myrtle Beach!
Dirty Myrtle.
Only for the golf trip. Yeah. All right, good deal, guys. Thanks for joining, Brett. Thanks for hanging out with us here for an hour. Good draft here, and I'll get the results out. We'll throw it out to our group, our fantasy football group here, see what they think, who has the best team. And but appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to you guys next week. See you.
All right.
You guys.